Great. So hello, everyone. Welcome to InFUZEd, a marketing meetup that's powered by FuseHub. My name is Steve Melito, and I'll be your moderator today. Today's topic, how manufacturers succeed at marketing, is a popular one. We had a lot of registrants, and I think this could be the biggest InFUZEd marketing meetup yet. What explains the interest? It's actually pretty simple. It's because you're going to hear directly from 3 New York State manufacturers who have succeeded at marketing in their own ways. Before we meet our panel, please note that today's format is entirely interactive. If you're looking for slides, you're going to be disappointed. There's nothing to stare at. This is all Q&A. So when you have questions, please type them in the Q&A panel. I'll be asking some questions as well. Also, if you'd like, please take a moment to introduce yourself. Feel free to use the chat to share your email address or your LinkedIn profile. You just might make some connections that could help. During today's panel discussion, you're going to hear about some projects from FuseHub Marketing Services. There are some other excellent service providers who are here with us as well, and I encourage them to share some examples of how they've helped manufacturers as well. Again, our goal is to hear from manufacturers in the real world cases. So I think without further ado, let's meet 3 New York State manufacturers who are marketing superstars. I'm going to read a quick introduction for each of you. Maybe if you raise your hand or wave, that would be great. So Michael Allen is the president and co-owner of Z-Axis and Bear Power Supplies in Phelps, New York. Z-Axis provides electronic design and manufacturing services, and I'm happy to say it had its best sales year ever in 2024. And Bear Power Supplies is the business unit of Z-Axis that designs and manufactures power supplies. We also have with us Steve Pomeroy, who is the president and the owner of Schatz Bearing Corporation in Poughkeepsie, New York. And Schatz designs and manufactures precision bearings for aerospace and other demanding applications. Schatz has repeatedly received performance excellence awards from Boeing, and Schatz's products have traveled to Mars on the Perseverance rover. Excuse me. And then third, last but not least, Janelle Wood. Janelle, how are you? You're the CEO of Ameritool Manufacturing in Central Square, New York. Ameritool is the first and largest manufacturer of stainless steel gas springs in North America. And Ameritool is a global company that provides both standard and custom products to a variety of industries. So welcome, Janelle.
Thank you.
It's great to have all you here. You're all from very accomplished as manufacturers, and frankly, you're also very accomplished as marketers as well. Michael Allen, if you would allow me to start with you, would that be okay?
Sure.
Okay. So Michael, many manufacturers struggle to create video content, but you have a YouTube channel with over 6,000 subscribers and 100 videos, and you produce a new one every month. How do you do it?
Well, we've been, part of the way to do it is do it for a period of time. We've been doing this for about 15 years, creating a video each month. And, when we first started doing it, we wondered if we were going to be able to do it for 4 months and then run out of ideas. But, as we continue to grow as a business, we continue to have more ideas. Every time we buy a new piece of equipment or add a new capability, then it becomes a video. And, the videos are typically about 3 minutes long. That's sort of the time span of most of my audience. It's about 3 minutes. And we always say something interesting and we try to teach the public. So that's how we do it.
Right. It's not a sales pitch. And do you shoot these for yourself? You've got a professional videographer.
We got a professional photographer that shoots them and edits the video. Steve does the writing for us.
Yeah, so if you think it can't be done as a manufacturer, here's a use case of a company that's doing this and has been doing this for years. So Michael, thank you for that. Steve Pomeroy, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about keywords. And keywords might sound kind of boring, but they're really search inquiries that users type into Google. So they're actually pretty important. And they're one of the key metrics that Schatz looks at each month. Have you improved your keywords rankings over time by working at your marketing strategy? And what are some things that you've done to make that happen?
Well, yeah, and just to kind of provide a little bit of background, for us, probably definitely every business has their own challenges, their own quirks, and so forth. For us, we participate in markets where programs are very long. It's highly regulated. You have to become an approved supplier to companies. So it's not like maybe some other company might have success sending out an email blast, and if they sell some consumer item that someone just sees it and says, "Oh, I think I'll buy that." We're kind of on the other end of the spectrum. We have to find companies that have a very long approval process, get on programs that have a long timeline, and if we miss that moment, we might miss 10 years worth of business. So, and for being a small company in a market where our competitors are much bigger, we don't have an army of people knocking on every door that's out there. So it's hard for us to get to the right person, not only get to the right person, but get to them at the right time. So that's where this keywords came in for us, was that we need to be found when that particular user needs us, and if the timing isn't right or whatever. So finding or getting those keywords right, and having someone find us for those keywords is really critical for us. And so to answer your question, we came up with a list of keywords, working with you folks, going back and forth. So it's not just finding what we think is important. It's, well, what is the search volume for this particular one? Does it really match up? So it's really a collaborative thing. I mean, the way you pose the question is, what do we do? I would say, what have we done with you to try to come up with those lists of things? But to really answer your questions, once we came up with that list, you guys have come up with lots of ways to drive higher traffic to our site by the expertise that you have, which is is it structured right on our website? Are the tags, the titles on the website correct? Can we do something with WooCommerce to try to drive things, even though we don't necessarily sell over online? There's all sorts of things that I cannot take credit for, other than to say, these are the areas that we want to target, and using the expertise that you have given us to drive those numbers up. So it's simple to say that, but it's really all the help that you have given us.
I appreciate the kind words, and I think you also deserve a lot of credit, because it's been an iterative process as we've gone along. There are certain keywords that rise and fall, and we try to figure out which ones you can realistically win on. I think sometimes a mistake some manufacturers will make is they pick a very common keyword that everybody's going after, and that's a pretty hard one to do.
I think one of the things that Michael highlighted was the importance of a consistent approach. We could get to the top of a page on a few keywords, and then if we think, well, we've made it, and then turn our attention to something else, you don't stay there. You have to kind of have a regular, consistent approach to stay there.
Yeah, exactly. It's an ongoing effort. So Janelle, I'm hoping that your sound issues are worked out, and at least you can maybe hear me.
They are. Thank you. Sorry about that.
Okay, no problem. So Janelle, a lot of manufacturers talk about redoing their websites. I talk to them all the time. They say, yeah, I know we need to do a website. I just can't do it right now. I don't want to do it right now. So not all of them follow through. But Ameritool decided to do a website redesign a couple of years ago. And I'm curious, are you getting results that you can measure? Maybe something like views?
Yes, there's been a noticeable increase in engagement, time spent on pages, higher quality leads. Definitely that bump in traffic. Being mobile friendly has been huge for us. And then also the ability to change out of the English language to another language for our international customers. Having not being bilingual myself, that's really gotten us through some conversations. Our website was very much outdated, not reflecting who we were as a company. And I couldn't be more proud on how beautiful it looks now, and all of the information they could ever need at their fingertips with the right links to a different page on a certain spot in the page and contact us all over it.
Yeah,
It's night
I
and day.
was looking at your website again yesterday and I was amazed at how functional it is. You've got a lot of standard products, and then for each of these products, you lay out the specs. It's not just a bunch of marketing speak, like this is the best thing you're ever going to buy. It's like, no, these are the dimensions. This is what it's used for. This is what it's capable of. There's an image, all those things.
Yes, sending the customers to a certain spot to direct them over a phone call is very easy. We get less phone calls, in navigating it. They get right to where they need to go, and they reach us through it with cold call leads.
Good. In the end, it's what it's about, right? It's the lead generation. It's not just the page views. It's
Yes.
those marketing leads hopefully will become sales leads and become customers. So, Michael, I'm going to head back to you if that's okay.
Sure.
So each month, Z-Axis sends an email newsletter that includes a personal message from you. How do you know what to say, and what types of things do you include?
Um, well, I leave political views out of it because you can only alienate, a certain group of people. So my political views are never in it. But the whole purposes of our newsletter and videos is to be non-salesy. This isn't a sales pitch. I hate the videos you go to, and the first 30 seconds of the video is their logo spinning on the screen with some background music. I just wasted 30 seconds of my time. So we go right into it, and we try to have as much stuff and less fluff as we can. And from the same standpoint, each month we try to put a little personal of what's going on in my life. If I'm catching fish or not catching fish, or things I'm doing on the weekends, and it's just it's deliberately approachable to a potential customer. And the truth is, when we first came out with providing these videos, 15 years ago, I looked at it and said, okay, where is our business coming from? And we recognized that the vast majority of the growth in our business was not coming from through the website at that time, but coming from people that sell to me. So my target audience is not my customers. My customers are already buying from me. My target audience is to the people that sell to me, because they're also selling to other people that need our services. So, you have all these salespeople out there that aren't electrical engineers, aren't manufacturing engineers, and they're trying to sell to people. And if I can teach them in a 3-minute video what conformal coating of a circuit board is, and they're off at some other customer 2 months from now and going, yeah, do you know anybody can do conformal coating on circuit board? Oh yeah, Z-Axis does that. And so, I don't target my customers. I really target the suppliers to me, because they're great salespeople, because they talk to a lot of people.
Sure, sure. And you mentioned that you're not afraid to share some personal stuff, whether it's a fishing trip or you had a new grandchild
New
born.
grandson, that's right. And I try to make it approachable, and and it's if you were to print one of my newsletters, it'd be a half a sheet of paper, because nobody wants to look at 3 pages worth of stuff. And it's very concise, and we have a very high open rate on our video or on our newsletter.
Good. Do you ever hear back from anyone after you send one out? Like, hey, I enjoyed it, or hope.
Almost every month, sometimes
Okay.
2 or 3 times.
Okay. That's great to hear. Really great to hear. So, Steve, I'm going to head back to you. Maybe we can talk a little bit more, sort of to build off the last point you made about the ongoing process. So, how do you develop the website content? You've got blogs and white papers. In other words, where do the ideas come from? And how do you make sure that it's technically accurate? Because I think sometimes manufacturers say, well, there's nothing I could possibly write about every month, and there's no one that could write about it except for me. So how do you get past those issues and be able to develop content?
Well, getting back to the consistent approach that we talked about a few minutes ago, we have a monthly meeting with Steve and a couple of his colleagues at FuseHub, and We go over some of the same things each month, like where are our top 10 keywords ranking? What's the traffic to the website? Do we have issues in our website that we need to tweak, update, improve? And out of that discussion comes some of these suggestions. So let's say one of our important keywords is slipping. One of the techniques is to put some content out on that with that address that particular topic. And so you yourself, Steve, you write the content, along with sort of some guidance from us, and then send the draft to my team, and we review it for technical accuracy. And it's a lot easier to just read something that's already been done and say, oh, tweak this, add this, take this out. And, within 5-10 minutes of my time, we have something that's really effective. And so it's worked very well for us to just do it that way.
And it's not a difficult process, is it? We go back and forth maybe a couple times on a draft, but
right.
It doesn't
No,
take 6 weeks to get a blog out there or anything like that.
So yeah, when you said only I could write it, I will say that is not the case. Well, at least certainly not the case for our product. But and we have a fairly technical product, so yeah, no, I think it's worked very well and efficiently for us.
We use Steve too for all of our writing, and he makes me sound a whole lot smarter than I am.
You're a great teacher, Michael. Thank you for that. So Janelle, I wanted to ask you a little bit about standard and custom products because you've got them both on your website. When you get a web lead that comes in, is it usually because somebody's looking at a product page and they say, hey, I see, ABC 1, 2, 3, tell me more? Or is it more of a general inquiry that you typically get these days?
It's a mix between both. With our dimensions, like you mentioned, being listed as our chart, if that's not what you're looking for, there's a contact us right next to it. There's our specification worksheet that asks for the details of their application, and it's got everything we require to produce them a custom size within minutes. And you're getting that reply back, not your 24 hours, 24 to 48 hours response time. If they've given us everything that we need by just filling in the blanks of this technical form, there cuts back on the back and forth and allows us to just get them exactly what they need.
And there's no e-commerce on your site, correct?
There is not. No, we don't sell directly to individuals, just through distributors.
Okay. Do you think you'll ever go that route where you look at e-commerce even if it's to a distributor, or is that just not really on the radar?
We actually just had a meeting not too long ago with Amazon just because it's so widely used and it's kind of one of the first places people go for certain things. So we'll see how that might go.
Yeah, exactly. That's always a challenge. And Michael, you don't do e-commerce either, but on the Bear power supply side, is that because they're mainly custom products?
Yeah, almost everything we do is a custom product, custom service. We offer all these different services, and people come to us with what their need is. So it's we have a contact page that we get an amazing amount of contact through. FuseHub has been great in looking at our website and saying, well, you got a lot of great content here, but Google will never find it. You have 100 videos on your website, but nowhere do you have what's in the video. So if you put a little bit of a bio or a thing, Google will find it, and it'll be a whole lot better. In which we certainly have done. Well, FuseHub has done, I should say.
Good, thank you. And Steve, I know that you don't do e-commerce either, but it really wouldn't make sense for you to do so, would it?
Not for the type of product that we do, but if it helps in our SEO efforts, then it can be something that we can at least put the structure in place just for that purpose.
Okay, good. Hey, Michael, I just got a question that came in through chat. How often do you send out newsletters, and have you found a sweet spot that isn't too often? It also keeps you top of mind.
We send the third Thursday, so tomorrow, out every month. So every month we send a newsletter out. And they don't always have a video. Sometimes it just has a message. Sometimes Steve will write a white paper, something that just doesn't, do well for video. But probably 10 out of 12 months we do a video.
Good. Hey, let's talk about white papers a little bit, or that longer form written content, because I think it kind of scares people because it can be time intensive to create. And there's a big misconception that trade publications are somehow dead. And that's clearly not the case. Michael, can you tell us a little bit about some of the articles that you've done over the years, including ones that predate my time even knowing you?
Yeah, well, so trade magazines aren't dead. Trade magazine writers are dead. So these trade magazines are desperate for content. And it's amazing, you'll want to advertise in their magazine, and a third of a page ad is, $5,000. Or if you provide them an article that's goes through 3 pages and has your pictures of your products thought through it, how much better that is. And it's just a lot of the vast majority of trade magazines now are also published online, and they're there forever. So we get links from 10, 20 years ago, people calling in and saying, hey, I saw your article, 18 years ago on inrush current and a power supply, and it looks like you're an authority on it. Can you help us with our problem?
Exactly. And to sort of build on that a little bit, so there was one that you did recently for electronic design, which is a name that all the electrical engineers know.
Certainly.
What was that process like? I mean, was it hard to do, hard to create this article?
Not at all. The Fuse Hub makes it extremely easy. I mean, I think for that one, I created an outline for an article and sent it to you, and you came back with some questions, and you wrote the most thing, and it had 2 edits, and the last edit was 1 word. I mean, it's amazing how easy it is to do, and press releases and white papers and articles. You would think they're all dead, but they are still very, very powerful.
Yeah, and just for
More
the
powerful than they were 20 years ago, because it used to be a press release would be printed and gone.
right.
Or now they're on websites and stuff for a long time. So, and they get rebroadcast.
Right. And for the folks out there who are listening, I might wonder, the mechanics of how we got in touch with electronic design. Again, in the age of the internet, it's really pretty easy. Go on their website, find an editor, write to the editor, make a pitch. It's, they've all got their standards. You can't publish things that are overly commercial, but if you've got a good technical resource writing the article like you'd be surprised that they don't want to pay anybody to write the articles. They'll have you do it.
They're desperate for content.
For sure. Steve, have you ever done any articles or releases that have appeared in trade publications?
We dabbled in it several years ago, but haven't done as much of late. Trying to think which publication. Nothing's coming to mind at this point, but we have dabbled in it.
Yeah, that Mars rover success story is one that comes to mind as a possible future topic. I'm sure Mars is in the news still.
Yeah, it didn't represent tons of business for us, but it's pretty cool to be in something that has that kind of visibility to everybody. The Mars rover or the James Webb Space Telescope. We were on that one too. So yeah, there's some pretty cool stuff.
For sure. And Janelle, I'm not sure if you've done any trade publications, but I know that you go to trade shows. And I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about your strategy. How do you figure out which ones to go to from a marketing point of view? And how do you get the maximum value out of them?
So we've done a boating show every year since we've been in business in Tampa. And we have done advertising on the badge displays. We have done like the welcome lounge, a number of different advertisings for when you're getting in the building to kind of put our name out there, stop by our booth. I like it for visibility, but there have been customers that come up and said, hey, instead of that, we'd like a discount on our product. So it didn't sit as well from their point of view. So, that's someone's opinion, but
Right.
that show's very successful for us. A lot of traffic there. This year, from January to March, Dale walked a number of shows trying to get out of the marine market and into more agricultural, defense, medical. And there were amazing leads from just walking the show, and also very, very cool to see vendors of ours displaying at the trade show with our product on their machinery. So walking them this year has gotten us more leads than when we attend the same marine show that we go to every single year.
It's interesting. And when you send someone to a trade show, is it just one person or is it typically a couple people?
Sometimes it's only two. Then we have a salesman that kind of pops in and out. An outside salesman pops in and out of his other companies as well that he reps. So 2 to 3 people, 10 by 20 booth. People can come in, take the freebies, touch the product, grab a catalog, watch the video of our product we have rolling through it. Try to keep it as interactive and interesting. Everything's what's new, I've seen this all before.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And if you send a couple of people, do you have one person stay at the booth to kind of gather and then one to go out there and hunt?
Yes.
Okay, that sounds like a good approach.
Yes. So when we are interested in possibly displaying at a show, we will walk it first. So the 2 he went to this year, as just a attendee, were very fruitful for us. So we'll definitely be putting up a booth for that. And we're in the process of redesigning our backdrop to not just draw to the marine aspect, but be for all categories there.
Sure. How do you know what shows to go to? Are they the same ones typically you go to every year? Are there new ones that ever come up?
Well, they're not new shows, but new to us. And believe it or not, a sales rep who had never repped for us, we've never spoken to him before, came and said, these are the shows you need to walk to. It was just like a nice organic discussion. And we got his business card and we're like, hey, we want to send you a thank you. And he's like, nope, no need. I'm just paying it forward. And, we owe him quite a bit of leads.
A good thing.
So branching out is always a good thing to do because you've just got to go get it. It's
right.
there to be taken. So
That's
a little
right.
more travel miles on this year.
Sure, sure. And Michael, you go to some trade shows as well. How many do you go to? How do you determine which ones to go to and who gets to go to them?
Well, if they're fun, I go to them, but we go to an average of about 1 trade show a year. This year it was to a power supply design show, and I took myself and 2 other engineers. Last year we were looking at buying a bunch of new equipment, so it was myself and my manufacturing engineering manager went to a show in California. We used to do shows locally, but the local shows have sort of dried up. There wasn't a lot of attendance. We saw more of our competitors than our potential customers. People just don't seem to want to go spend a day at a show. The shows we're going to are very large shows when I go visit them. But
Yeah, for sure. And Steve, I know that you go to some shows and they're really big ones and you got to jump on a plane to get to them. Can you tell us about what that's like and the amount of work that's involved?
Yeah, so shows like the Paris Air Show or Farnborough Air Show, they alternate each year. Those are the big shows in the aerospace industry, and so we've walked those shows. We've been exhibitors at those shows. I guess the nice thing is because the industry that we're in, the customers are scattered all over the world, literally, not just the States. To get them, a lot of them in the same building for a week, it's, you think about the expense to travel there or maybe to exhibit. if you went and tried to visit all those customers, it would be a lot more expensive. So that's, and then also you just get exposure. If, you know, last several years we've exhibited, you get exposure to customers that you would not otherwise, you know, other than maybe through maybe a website contact, but we find it to be valuable that way.
Good, good. Let's switch gears a little bit and talk about social media. And Janelle, I keep seeing posts on LinkedIn from Ameritool, so good job. Do you do them yourself? How often do you post? And if it's not you at all, how involved are you in what goes on social media?
Definitely involved. Dale is more of the poster, and we have had our infographics made, you know, saying why Ameritool and really pointing out the quality of our product, the longevity of the product to give us that American-made edge. Big flashes of the red infographics, and then the next week we'll do blue. So when if you're scrolling down and it's not appearing to be the same thing, so we like that pop to grab your eye. We posted about a job opening on there the other day, but maybe not the following of local, because we don't do business locally. You know, it ships all over the world. Mostly what I was getting then was just recruiters contacting me.
Right, right.
But, you know, being out there to get just the name Ameritool in your brain, it's like, you know, I did need to place an order with them. So I think that in itself, you know, you've got to show it off and have your moment.
You're right.
Grab
It's
that
the
interest.
brand awareness.
Yeah.
I've read or heard, I forget which it was, that it takes someone 7 times to see your company's name just to have it register and stick with them. So what you're doing is helpful. Do you find it's a time sink, like, oh, I got to do this LinkedIn stuff and I really don't have time or don't feel like it, or is it a okay distraction?
Yeah, once you get in the habit of doing it, it just is like, yep, got to get that post up, and it's 2 minutes and you're done.
And do you do it right in LinkedIn or do you use any special tools?
We do it directly in LinkedIn. We have a third-party marketer that can schedule the posts, and going back to trade shows, we do the logo of the trade show and say, you know, Dale will be walking this show, come find him, schedule a meeting, you know, will you be there too, you know, for engagement and things like that.
Sure. And Michael, you had a LinkedIn post this morning, I think, at least it was scheduled. That might have been a good thing because you were busy all morning.
It certainly was. Yeah, I think it came out. Thanks for the help in writing it, Steve. I'm not a particularly good LinkedIner. I probably do 2 posts a year. I try to do important things. This one I was announcing my 27th patent, U.S. patent. Um, and then we have a company LinkedIn page that we started doing. So, you know, the last post was, you know, we just bought a new electric lawnmower that's a robot lawnmower, and we had to name the lawnmower contest, and that's now the Lawn Ranger.
I saw that post. It was good.
But so, you know, we're going to put more there because a lot of people that are looking for a job, and they'll go to your company LinkedIn page and see what it's like at that company. And if they're having contests like that, it's a fun place. You know, it truly is a fun place to work.
Yeah, they want to know what the culture is like. It gives them a sense of that for sure. And Steve, do you do any social media posts at all?
We do some, but we haven't done a lot of late anyway. So yeah, some.
Was the experience good overall, or did it sort of fall flat?
That's not something that I was as directly involved in. So I would probably have to defer an answer until later. I don't know if I have a good answer for you on that.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you something that you are involved in is marketing overall. And this is one of the things I want to hit on is we'll start with you on this question. I'd like to ask it of everyone is like, Steve, why are you involved in marketing? Why don't you just delegate this to someone else within Schatz and say, well, I've got other things to do. I don't have time for this. What makes you so hands-on with this?
Well, it's a good question. Everybody has just so many hours in the day. I would say that, and I'm not the one that created this comment, but everyone is in sales, or everyone should be in sales or in marketing in a company. I mean, you could have the greatest product in the world, but if no one knows about it, you're not going to do well. In fact, you probably know some companies that have sort of a mediocre product, but they do a great job in sales and marketing, and they have a successful company. So if you can have a great product and great marketing and sales, then you have something that's really worth it. So I just deem that marketing and sales is important enough for me to be involved. I'm not going to say that I drive everything. When we have calls with you guys, our business development managers on the call, our engineering managers on the call, and so we have input from a lot of folks. But it would be surprising to me that anybody that owns or runs a company that don't have their finger on the pulse of what's going on in their sales and marketing efforts, because it's important. And as we mentioned multiple times, it's important to have a consistent focus and effort on it. So I think I do it just because it's that important.
But Steve, engineering is so much more fun.
True. I am much more geared toward engineering than sales, but you do what I try to, can do.
But no, I agree. And it's who knows more about how to market the company or what the company can do than us, right?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. No, it's important.
And you both have an approach where you bring in some other people to work with you and support you, which I think is interesting. Like, you could either be hands off or hands on, or you can find this third way, which is I'm going to get some internal people, some external resources, and we'll work together.
Yeah.
And Janelle, do you do everything yourself? Do you get help from Dale with marketing as well?
Oh yeah, both of us collaboratively working together. Obviously, InFUZEd's been a huge factor in that, but we've got to reach the people, outreach and be accessible, be visible to keep growing.
Good. Steve, I want to ask you a question that I don't think it's tough. I think we sort of covered it maybe once before, but you've worked with several marketing agencies over the years. As you sort of look back on it and assess everything, what are some things to think about when you select an agency? And this is not an advertisement for InFUZEd. This is for everybody who's going to hopefully get serious about marketing and think about what they need. How do you determine who to work with? What are some things that you've looked at?
Well, I guess maybe the question that I'll answer is that, what lessons have we learned by having some false starts with some other agencies? I think it's like anything, finding a vendor, there's a lot of aspects that you look for to make them a right fit for you. Like, for example, in order to do some of the work that InFUZEd is doing for us, you have to have multiple areas of expertise. And so it's not just the technical aspect of the behind the scenes on a website. It's what does a website look like, the blog posts, there's a multiple different things. And we started out with some firms that were maybe good at one of those things and not so good at others. And or if you find an agency that is great at all of them, you're not very important to them because maybe they're working with IBM and General Electric or whatever. They're just kind of geared toward a much bigger company. So I think what has, and I know you said this is not an ad for InFUZEd, but what we like about InFUZEd is that they give us the attention that we need, that they have multiple areas of expertise, and it's not all one person that does it. They have multiple people that have their areas of expertise, and so it's that I think all of those things have kind of come together to make us feel like that's been the right fit, and we've been working with you for quite a number of years now. I recall there was one company that we worked with prior to working with you guys, and they were really good at the technical side of things. They were a small firm, and then they ended up going out of business. And they had some of our passwords to some of our sites that we couldn't access. It was frustrating and painful, but so I think the stability of the organization going forward too is very important. So I think that those are all the, multiple areas of expertise, stability, and giving you the attention that, that you don't have to be a, billion-dollar company to try to get their attention. So I think those are all the things that I would list from our experience.
Good. Michael, any words of wisdom about hiring a marketing agency? I think you've had a couple over the years.
Yeah, well, 20 years ago when I first was introduced to marketing, I didn't know there was any marketing and sales. It's a true story. I had no idea, what the difference marketing and sales was. And but it's certainly finding, like any vendor, finding the right fit, and even though we're not a billion-dollar company, Steve, Steve makes us look like a billion-dollar company. So
you mean that you're not? Not yet. And Janelle, have you worked with some other marketing agencies? It sounds like you might have somebody that's helping with social media outside the company right now.
Yes, we did. I don't think it was the right fit.
That's okay. Lesson learned, right?
Yeah. The cold called emails weren't as fruitful as we'd hoped. But being that person was very young, I think it did help boost our social media presence, which we needed to push in the right direction for that. But I can recall, first coming into contact with FUZEhub, and one of the first things I asked was like, can you show me some of the other websites you've designed? Just to kind of get a feel of where we would be going, because our website was bare bones from what we started with. And if you can visit a website for a few minutes and really get a sense of what this company does and have zero back interest in it or knowledge of it prior to, then that's just a testimonial that you are amazing at what you do. I come to this website, have no idea what this company does, click a few pages, see how easily it is to maneuver, feel like I know about the product, this is who I want to go with. And then I can get that feeling from just visiting a random website that you made.
Sure. We've got a couple of questions from some folks in the chat about CRMs, which is really, in this case, the email server or software that you're using. And Janelle, do you use Constant Contact or MailChimp or something else? How do you send out your emails?
We just use Outlook.
That's simple.
That's simple.
All right. And Michael, it's Constant Contact for Z-Axis?
Yes, absolutely.
All right. And Steve, I'm not sure what you use for emails. What's your email service, or do you just send them out through Outlook as well?
Yeah, we use MailChimp for some stuff, but we don't do a lot of email blasts. I mean, it's just the way we sell it. Again, like I said, you have to get to the right person at the right time, and those times are few and far between. You get on a program for multiple years and then they don't want to talk to you. So it's not like it's a steady stream so it's a little bit different kind of selling for us, or marketing.
Sure. And so one of these questions came from Joe. And so Joe, just so that you know, the email services with two big deliverability rates are Constant Contact and MailChimp. They're both like 85 to 95%, but there are lots of different services out there. Another question that came in is about top line growth. And this is from our friend Don Lynch out at Central New York TDO. And can Janelle, Steve P., and Michael share their observations on top line growth they've been seeing from their marketing efforts? Also, which type of marketing efforts have proved to be the most useful? I think you've probably covered some of the second part, but Steve Pomeroy, is there any link that you can build between marketing efforts and top line growth?
Well, I mean, it's an excellent point, excellent question. It's sometimes or oftentimes hard to tie the two together when you, I mean, I know our web traffic has gone up when We ask people to tell us when they contact us, how did they find us? We have a lot of, yes, we got you through an internet search, which our SEO program helps to, get us to the point where we're going to be found. We probably could do a better job of making a harder connection to, well, how much are we spending versus how much traffic? But for us, because of the size of our orders, it only takes one customer for us to, probably recoup a year's worth of marketing. So, and we have gotten that for sure. So, but like I said, we probably could do a better job tracking it. But the amount of money that we spend on this, I'm sure we get 10 times that back or more. I don't need a metric to do that, but it'd probably be nice to be able to, especially in a setting like this, to be able to say it.
Sure, sure.
So,
And Michael, can you link marketing efforts to top line growth? I mean, can you trace a lead to a customer?
Yes, certainly. We get it's a popular question. How'd you find us? And um, the things that have worked very well for us is creating a good website and keeping it fresh. Certainly, when we had to go mobile a few years ago, we went mobile, and most of our links come in through our website, or a lot of links come through our website. The other is our monthly newsletter. That brings a lot of links to us, coming to us. We've completely stopped all AdWords. That had zero return on investment. It really did. The AdWords just did not work. No matter how you optimized it or what have you, having a good website and having good organic links to it and putting out the monthly newsletter really is where our marketing budget is.
Okay, good. And Janelle, can you trace top line growth to marketing activities, or you just have a more general sense?
Not the trace. No interesting statistics for you on that, but the leads coming through the website, we send out samples within a couple days. They love them. Here comes the credit app. We've got a new customer. Coming back from trade shows, the new leads pour in from those. And same process. We're sending out samples. And then the volume comes.
Got it, got it. And I'm glad that we talked about Google Ads. That was another question that came in through the chat. I'll share my own observation. Unless you're willing to spend at least $2,000 a month as a manufacturer, Google Ads probably will not be that effective. And $2,000 a month is a lot of money to spend, period, on one activity like that. Wanted to ask as well, going back to the trade publications, we had some questions on that. Michael, have you ever got a sale off of a trade publication, or do they just sort of get into the sales pipeline with an inquiry that you might get?
Yeah, they get in the sales pipeline. People come to us and say, "Hey, we can see you solved this problem before." A lot of our marketing makes us with the best thing with the magazines type work or electronic magazines is that you become an authority. So it positions you in the marketplace as an authority, knowing of something about this particular product. And so that makes them come to you much more willing.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm going to stick with you, Michael, if I can. Another question that came in is about newsletters, and at some point you had to start. How did you get started with the newsletter process? I think the question here is really, I'm looking to start sending newsletters. However, I do not have a list of customers that have stated they allow newsletters through email. What would be the first step I should take?
The first thing that I did was I started, and again, my focus to begin with was not on customers, but on salespeople.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very nichey, and I've never gone out and bought a customer list or anything like that. And it's illegal in some countries to blind email people. So I started off by emailing all my suppliers to me, and said, "Hey, I'm starting a newsletter. Can I put you on my list?" And if the vast majority says sure, because then they can know about me. Not only can they watch us, and what we're doing, but so does my banker. You know, they get my newsletter each month and they can keep an eye on what's happening here. So hey, it looks like they're continuing to do good things. So it's a, you know, bankers are all responsible to keep their thumb on me to make sure that I'm doing a good job. Well, they can say, I looked at his newsletter every month and I know that he's growing, he's adding this equipment, he's adding that equipment, he's got this capability. So it's amazing the benefits of and then of course all of the videos from the newsletters we put on our website. So we've had potential employees go to our website and just go through the videos, going, wow, they do this, they do that, and it's amazing.
Very good. And Janelle, do you get permission before you send email, or do you just have a relationship that you know you can send an email out and not have to worry about an opt-in?
Yeah, I haven't gotten permission, but no issues have arisen from it.
Yeah. Steve, any issues with you on the email? I know some people are very sensitive to, you know, spam and getting permission and all those issues.
Yeah, no, I like Janelle. We haven't asked for permission, but I haven't had any issues with it.
Okay, good, because as a marketer, I'll tell you, it's much better to ask for forgiveness than wait to get permission on those things, because you're probably not going to get it. It's not somebody's priority to opt into your email list. So
But
they'll
every
let you
customer
know.
that comes and visit us, it's an easy conversation when they're there visiting. Hey, I put out a new monthly newsletter. Would you like to be added? And as long as you have it so they can easily opt out at any time, you tell them that. The vast majority of people say absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. Let's see. I've got another question here. Let's see. Wait just a moment, if you would. Curious on sending out follow-up surveys, customer surveys, and your feedback from them. So do any of you ever send surveys out? How are we doing?
Absolutely not. That's the best way to annoy me, is to send me a survey. My time is worth money, and if I got to spend 10 minutes filling out your survey, it just costs me something.
Yeah,
So
sure.
I don't do
Yeah,
that to my customers easy either.
yeah, yeah. Steve, do you send out surveys ever to any of your clients?
We don't send out a survey per se, but and this is part of our quality system too. Is we contact our top 10 or 15 customers, and on certain topics we ask for feedback, and then discuss it internally about, you know, if there's issues. I mean, not that we don't know about some of the things already, but it's a formal process for us to put those. It's kind of almost like a report. So part of it is, you know, like almost like a survey with them, but it's not like here's 20 questions, you know, A, B, C, D, check boxes. It's a little bit less, I guess, formal than that, but it is something that we do every year.
That's right. And Janelle, do you send out surveys?
We do send out surveys. I have created documents and attempted to send those out. I would get little to no responses. So I went to SurveyMonkey and let it create it for me. And the link it sends will tell you that it'll only take 5 minutes, because it times like how long to answer the questions. And I think that's a big thing for getting those responses, is like, okay, I can do 5 minutes. And the responses poured in. And we do customer satisfaction surveys once a year. Why choose Ameritool? What can we do better? What other products would you like us to use? What's your reason for purchasing through us? You know, customer service, fast lead times, custom options, made in USA. It kind of lets us rank how those things matter to our customers and where to focus in those areas. We've also sent them out on behalf of our sales reps to kind of make them accountable. There's definitely been certain customers that came back and said, I didn't know I had a sales rep. And I'm like, well, they're not visiting that customer. So it allowed us to, you know, get some answers from what we can't see being done.
It's good. And you know, I think this question was probably a really good one to sort of wrap things up, because there isn't one size fits all. It's not as if you're a manufacturer, you must do surveys, or you must do Google ads, or you must do email marketing. It really depends on who you are as an organization, what you like to do, and how you get your message out. So listen, I want to thank you all for being here today, and I've really enjoyed talking to you and learning from you, and I hope that you too as well. And before we head out, I just want to remind everyone that this webinar today is part of FuseHub's InFUZEd Marketing Meetup series. We're hoping to do some more of these again soon to provide you with insights that you can act upon, not just in advertising, but things you can take home and hopefully use. So before I sign off here, I'd like to share a couple of announcements. When it comes to surveys, I think FuseHub is going to send you a survey. So hopefully you'll take a couple of minutes and fill it out. Michael probably won't.
Michael definitely will not.
You know, back in the day, they used to send a survey in the mail and it would include $1 for your time.
Yeah. So for those who are out there listening, I hope you'll fill out the survey. I just might call you up as well, just to sort of follow up on some things because I'm very curious to learn what you got out of it. So thank you in advance if you do choose to fill it out. Second, if you're out there listening, especially if you're an established manufacturer and you're troubled by tariffs, there's an in-person event coming up. It's at the Port of Albany in New York State, of course, May 20th. The event's called Managing Risk and Cost in the Global Supply Chain, How Foreign Trade Zones Can Help. And if you'd like to register, go to niwt.org/May-20. And if you didn't get that, don't worry about it. Reach out to FuseHub. We'll hook you up. And then third and finally, if you are part of the food and beverage manufacturing supply chain at any point, if you grow crops, if you make tanks, if you make food products or beverages, we would love to have you come and join us in Herkimer, New York next month at an event called Vitality in the Valley. This year's keynote speaker is going to be Richard Ball, who's the Secretary of Agriculture and Markets for New York State. So to register for that event, you'd go to FuseHub.com/VIV2025. And if you didn't get that, don't worry, just reach out to FuseHub and we will get you the information that you need. So we are coming right up on 1 o'clock. And again, Janelle Wood, Steve Pomeroy, Michael Allen, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thanks a lot, Steve.
My pleasure. All right, I'm going to sign off. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye now.